What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And I don't know if it'll be next show. It'd probably be the next show. If it's a show after, just thinking. Maybe it's probably next week, next Saturday show. Speaking that we're going to do it live, which I'm putting out the good energy. I'm going to announce a campaign that the team I'm a part of is involved with Dove Men Plus Care for Father's Day. And it's all based on the LinkedIn platform. Get ready for that. I'll be able to chat about that next Saturday. And it is broadcast. It is May 31st in my part of the world, Saturday afternoon. And, you know, Toronto never ceases to amaze me. It's like yesterday it was about 70 plus degrees, sunny, nice breeze. Today, 50 degrees, cloudy. And again, my dad would call this a day of night because it's just all cloudy, dreary. We're speaking to Mother Nature. Can you give us 3 or 4 days of nice sunshine and nice weather this spring? I'm just leaving it up to you. But we go strong with Primetime Saturday. And just to tell you, Aisha will probably not be with us today. She has some family commitments that she has got to address. And family is more important than any show. But you know something? Look at that T-shirt. Look at those locks. Look at that smile. Look at that. Hear that voice. Lala, Lala is in the house. You're in the house.
Yes, I am. I'm glad to be back. I'm telling you, losing your voice, especially for someone like me, that's not a good combination.
And how's dear Will?
He's doing great. He's doing really great. He didn't get any of the cooties that I had. So,
when you start giving cooties, it makes you think of onesies. So behave yourself.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. I can tell you that. I have a onesie on the way that is a summer onesie. So it's light, so I can have my summer onesie. I can have my winter onesie.
A summer onesie?
Yes, a summer onesie. So it actually is a onesie that's short. So you can relax and not worry about being too hot.
A summer onesie.
And it's cute. It's yellow and it's got bumblebees on it. So you might see it. You might see it in the coming weeks. But then the second thing is, I was just really shocked about how sick I was because I had a fever of 102 for like 3-4 days, and it was really hard to break it. And I was like, this just didn't seem like a regular cold or whatever. So I looked up all of the newer symptoms for COVID, which is now a new variant, and I checked off every box. So I truly believe that I had that variant of COVID.
Ouch. Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah. So be aware, everybody. It's out there, and under the new regime, they're not going to tell you about it. The CDC is not going to tell you about it, but the World Health Organization will. And you make your own choice.
What about won't Mr. Kennedy tell you about it?
Oh, honey, the worms ate his brain, so we're not worried about that.
You're already coming out firing. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm so picky, yo.
Okay, well, just want to chat with you before we go to break.
Sure.
I don't know how much you paid attention, but this new Google Veo 3, have you heard?
I actually have kind of delved into it a little bit, and it is quite frightening. I'm a tech geek. I love stuff like that. But what I see is this will be used for good and bad. And the thing is, people who don't bother to research will be fooled very easily.
Yeah, and the thing is, I watch Lala knows, and on most Saturday mornings, I'm hanging out around 9 o'clock listening to Nick and Dee Nimmin. And they've been doing a show. And if anyone who wants help with YouTube, they do a fantastic 3-hour live stream where you can ask anything about YouTube. And sometimes they'll actually review people's channels in real time. And Dee's very passionate. He said, you know what? If you don't get your game right in the next 3 years, AI is going to wipe you out as a content creator.
Yes, it will. It's gotten so good. And what's interesting is, everybody was so excited for Sora. And so that was a part of OpenAI, right? Well, and they said, oh, no, we're not going to give it to everybody. We want it to be used right. What happened is they ended up falling behind because everybody else jumped on it, and now they're the ones who are behind.
100%. Man, I just, and they, like Dude saying, look, he said, unfortunately, there will be some content creators that are going to get wiped out.
Yes, they will. If you don't take the time to learn this, especially the Black community, and I need to say that very clearly, because when America has a cold, the Black community always has a flu, right? We're always behind. Things are being cut out. Funding for programs for us is being cut out. It is critical now that you make sure that your children and you learn something about AI, because otherwise you're going to become obsolete. Now, I will say I did find out that Klarna went to all AI for assistance for like customer service assistance, and it didn't work. And so now they are trying to hire people back because it didn't work for them. But with these new tools involved, now you can chain AI to AI to AI to make it flow.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to start making this a regular practice. I just did it on my Friday morning vibe show. Lala, give us a win that you've had since we last saw you.
A win. Guys, I am back on my serious walking program. I have walked over 300 miles just this month.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Today I reached my goal. Every year I do the year run or walk, and I run and walk. I bounce back and forth. So this year's 2025. My goal is to get in 2025 miles. I reached my 11,000 mile today for this year. So I'm ahead of schedule.
You ain't sick, baby. You ain't sick.
I had to get in. I had to get in.
You are on fire.
Yes. So I'm pretty excited about that.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go on break. There are a pile of comments that we're going to get to already before we get, well, we're going to go on break, and then we'll do the housework. Then we'll go on and then we'll get to the comments, and we'll start with our stories. So we will be right back. I feel like I'm Janet Jackson doing the Rhythm Nation thing. Then we'll be right back in 30 seconds. Black Canada Talking, where Black Canadians give their takes, POVs, and insights on local, provincial, national, international conversations. Cesar Nadima Musa. What is up, Cesar?
Hi, Dr. Vibe. Thanks for having me. And it jeopardizes your ability to sustain yourself financially.
40 programs have been suspended due to the drop in revenue.
We see this happening over and over again throughout history.
What does that tell you about America? Now, what does it tell you about America? All right, let's do some housework first. I love Lala's facial expression.
Yeah, something's going on. I'm gonna have to let me hold my camera for a minute. Something's going on. I'll be right back.
No problem. While Lala is finding out what's going on, let's do some housework. Girlfriends chat with Aisha, Lala, and Jill Jones at Patreon. There's a Patreon address, and then they've now flipped it over to Substack, so you can catch them there. Primetime Saturday store is where you can get merchandise. And I know they're updating some stuff as we speak. There's the link. Join Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the dr, vibeshow.com. There's also a link there. Also, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Please like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I put my shiny head on. Email me, dr.vibe at the dr, vibeshow.com. And then finally, IndieSoup TV, Dr. Tachi's creation, getting closer to 30,000 subs, as we say, over only about 15 months. And that's that. And then let's get to our comments, a whole whack. So let's start from the top. Let's start from the top. Enlightened Beings, who was here 3 minutes before we went live.
I love it.
Ready to get into this conversation. Love that. Regina, here for the ketamine domino effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lala says, send stars to show your support. Jen Myers, what is up, Jen Myers? Lala says, hello, family. Welcome. Regina says, good evening, Lady L. Has anyone ever called you Lady L?
No, and I like that.
Lady L. Okay.
Lady L.
And Regina says, Pride Month starts tomorrow.
It does.
Yes, and Pride, she has a Pride logo up in the comments. Regina says, like, it sounds like you had COVID.
Yep, I think so too, Regina.
And then Regina goes, Christy, ketamine, and Kennedy, KKK. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle, isn't it?
Okay, Regina says, does Canada have laws in regards to AI? Yes, they're a little, they're sort of, I believe they're a little bit further ahead than the United States. We're certainly not close to what Europe had. Europe is way ahead of the curve.
Yes, and they're not playing around. Europe is not playing around.
100%. And then Regina says, how long does it take you to walk 10 miles?
That is about a 3-hour walk for me. So what I do is I do split it up, Regina. I always take at least 7 in the morning. And then in the evening, which takes me 2 hours for 7. And then in the evening before the sun sets, I usually take my little 3-mile walk and just enjoy the sunset.
Wow. Impressive. Like, you're leaving me in the dust. Eek. All right. And then Yolanda goes, wow, that's great. All right. We've got all the comments covered, and keep on commenting while we are doing our thing. And, I'm going to put up some audience engagement stuff while we're doing our thing. And actually, I've just thought about one to put up right now. But first conversation piece, Elon Musk stint.
Well, there's a lot going on. There has been an expose about him that has been very honest and clear, and I definitely want you guys to go and read it. I have my notes together, so my notes are off to the side, but there is an article on Mind War, and it's called Cracked House, Drugs, Throttles, and Money. And it goes really deep into Musk's drug situation and how the White House supports it, and also how the White House also dishes out a lot of these drugs, and that he definitely goes to that doctor to get all of his prescriptions for a lot of these things. But we all knew this. It's very clear. If you look at him during many press conferences and even through the inauguration, he was not there. Like, he was drugged out. And he has admitted to being on, what is it, ketamine? And ketamine is very serious. And that's also something that Jim Jones, the preacher, the cult preacher, took as well. And it really does keep you out of your mind. It's pretty strong. He claims that it helps him to think and focus him, because he claims that he has, what is that? He says he has autism spectrum disorder, ASD. And he keeps saying that to people, like he's special because he is on the spectrum and he knows how to balance it and he knows how to do things. Well, it's not balancing, because as of this week, if you notice that he came on camera in the Oval Office, he's stepping down and leaving, which we'll get into why don't let your guard down on that. He had a black eye.
Yes.
Because he fought with a cabinet member over his
But he
over
he
what he
said
had
it's
done.
he said one of his sons gave it to him though.
No, the truth came out. Musk was fighting with one of the cabinet members who was arguing with him about how he has damaged so much with his Doge department, which is not legal in the first place anyway. That's not even legal. So, and I'm trying to find out who it was that he fought in the
Okay.
White House. I'll find that real quick.
So a few quick things. So I see that Regina asked link. And then also he was high yesterday during the White House press conference. And Regina, for those who are watching live on most of the platforms that I'm broadcasting on, I've put the link to the article in the US and the New York Times. And I actually saw a brief interview with the article writer yesterday. I think were they on MSNBC yesterday talking about it, but there is a link to the article. And then I'm also going to see if I can put it up, just people take a look at it on the screen if you're watching this.
And I also put the link in our chat to this article, in our private chat.
Here we go.
To that article as well. And I'll put it into our Discord as well. Regina, I know you're a part of our Discord. So please go to Discord and that link will be there for you as well, to the article that I was referring to.
Yeah, but there's a look of if you're watching this again live or on replay, there's the beginning of the article. I've also put the article in the comments section on most of the platforms that you're watching. And then this also leads me to this. I would like for people who are watching live on YouTube to give us feedback on, okay, someone's put it in Discord. I know who that is. What do you think about Elon Musk's stint in government? So we'd like to get your takes on that, and we'll bring it up again in a few moments. So Lala, what are your thoughts about Elon Musk's stint in government?
It's illegal. He needs to be arrested. He needs to be charged. He's not a government official. And what he has done is done nothing but ruin our system only for his benefit, which is illegal. And what he has done is he's gone and he's dismantled. He's taken pieces of everything that he can possibly take for his own self-service. He has gotten all of these government contracts based on all of this, while taking everyday citizens, which he is, don't forget, he's an immigrant. He shouldn't be here either, the way they're going, as well as Trump's wife and son. But anyway, I digress. There needs to be action toward him and what he has done to our country. However, the damage has been done. He has taken absolutely everything that he needs. He has access to our security numbers, social security numbers, our records, any records that we have that are registered with the government, our addresses, and in some case bank accounts, because he got into the IRS system. And so therefore he is an enemy of the state. And I won't say enemy number one, because we have plenty of them that are enemy number one, but he's right up there with enemy number one because he's the one who got in the bed with him. And the only reason that he was allowed to do that is because he needed help. Trump needed help to get into the White House. And I am telling you right now, and I don't care who's listening, Trump did not win this election. It was Musk who helped put him into the White House. And that is the only reason that Trump let him around. He's paying him back for what he did for him. So I also want to let you guys know that please do not let your guard down because Musk is stepping down. That's not the case, baby. That's not the case, boys and girls, because the person who is stepping in right after him is just as bad, if not worse. Peter Thiel is taking over.
No. Oh, no. You're kidding me.
No, Peter Thiel is taking over.
No.
His company, his credit number, his company, Planetar, is getting ready to create a deep state because he has already have access to everything that we need. We are still in danger. So don't think that just because Musk stepped down, that it is over, because Musk is still in the same bed and he still has access to everything. You know, his assistants, his Doge department dogs who know nothing. I'll still have all of your information. If you thought that we were worried about getting, you know how we get these breach emails, baby, we've been breached. We've been breached. We're going to be breached, and you're out there in the webs, on the dark webs. So just make sure that you are always doing some kind of credit monitoring to make sure that you can see where your information is, because I can guarantee you it's been leaked all over the world.
Okay, going to move. We're still going to stay on this, but I also want to say Yolanda Winnett, thank you for the like.
I know, that's my friend. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, and Bart M. Van Putten. Do you know that name?
Yes, I do. You want to talk about a music lover, history lover. Thanks for being here, Bart.
Sounds like a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Just like Chan. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got some comments here. Regina says, yes, it was not Lil X. It was Besant, according to Bannon. Steve Bannon said that was Besant. Wow. Okay. Regina Fries, thanks. Yeah, no problem sharing the link to that story. Very interesting. If you look, check if you go on YouTube after you find the lady who wrote that article. She was interviewed yesterday. It was quite an interesting interview. I don't know if it was on CNN or MSNBC. Enlightened Being says illegal to Elon Musk's time in government. Yolanda Winnett says truth. Then also Regina says he is using our data for his AI company's LLM. He will make trillions off our data, trillions.
Yes.
And then Regina says, I was hoping Musk would get so high and angry he would admit he helped to cheat in November 2024. And
before you move on to the next comment, I have to tell you, Regina, I think eventually, because see, people who have pompousness and arrogance at this level, they can't shut up. They cannot shut up. It's like their tongue will not sit still. At some point, he will. Mark my words.
And I was reading some commentaries saying that the amount of money, remember when he came in, how much money he said he would be able to save the U.S. government?
Yes.
It's not even close.
Oh, no, baby. He's costing us. He's costing us billions and trillions for what he has done. And we're starting to see a lot of that with how these judgments are happening about how you can't fire certain people. You need to bring them back. And even them, are saying, oh, we shouldn't have fired such and such and such and such. We need to bring them back. What did you just do? You just created lawsuits. You just created issues for each one of these departments. I'm not saying, and don't get me wrong, because everybody knows I really feel like I'm a fair person. I don't want our country to be spending a lot of money on things that don't matter. Okay, I don't want us to spend money on jobs that may not be needed in certain places, because sometimes the government overhires, right? I'm not for that. But I'm definitely not for anything that they have done to our country now. It will take us so long. Our children's children will still be trying to fix this. And it can't be undone overnight.
But the money that he allegedly say, the impending tax bill is going to just wipe that out.
They're after us, but we told you that. We told you that a long time ago. We told you Project 2025 was real. You are seeing it put into action right now.
Now, hold on a second. Peter Thiel is replacing him?
Yes. He's already started.
Oh, wow.
And not to mention, y'all, Musk is walking off with your boy's wife. What's her name?
Who? Not me.
I forgot which wife he's walking off to. He's taking one of these and this is what's real dangerous. I'm going to have to look up her name real quick. Katie Miller. He's taking Stephen Miller's wife with him. She's going to be working for him now. Yes, she is going to be a top spokesperson for him, and she's going to be working with him. And the capacity is no telling. She said it's unrelated to his time in the government, but she is going with Musk. And everybody's saying this is some kind of weird Nazi threesome.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow.
That's hardcore, y'all. This tells you just how corrupt. Now, here's what's interesting. Here's what I find: if you really pay attention, if you sometimes put your anger on the back burner and you really start just listening to what they're saying and what they're doing, you can see very clear. And a lot of people are saying, well, out in the open. Well, the difference between the previous administrations and our administrations, we're just doing everything out in the open. Well, that doesn't make it right. You're just as bad. All of the illegal and the corruption that you're doing is never right, whether it's behind closed doors or right there out there on front on stage. It's not. And as we have said, they are going to continue to throw 1,000 hard balls at us every day to keep us angry and confused, because you can't concentrate on 1,000 hard balls being thrown at you. You only can catch one and deal with that each day.
Mm-hmm.
So you have so many things that are going on in this whirlwind that picking your poison is almost impossible. And because you're still getting all of these things thrown at you every day, you're also not hearing that some of these things are not going through. So be very vigilant about whatever it is that you're passionate about, because nobody expects you to know everything about 1,000 things a day. But what matters to you should be what you need to stay on top of and be informed and to inform others.
Solid message. Solid message. Solid message. All right, let's see what's been going on in the chat, because there are always things going on. Yolanda Winnett says, "You're welcome." And then JJ Mars, my man from Colorado, is in the house. What is up, JJ Mars? Hope you are good and keeping good. We are on Primetime Saturday with Lala on her own today, but she's got an army of thousands with her. Her army of thousands here hanging out with. This is good. Lala. This is good. All right. You are watching Primetime Saturday with Lala today only and Dr. Vibe. But Lala is on fire today, bringing it, and bringing it strong. All right, let's go to our next conversation piece. U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD, sharing data on Homeland Security to target immigrants.
All right, guys, I need you to really pay attention to this. This is my wheelhouse. You know, this is y'all know I can talk politics all day long, but when it comes to housing, that's my wheelhouse. And we are seeing every single day the horrors of ICE going after immigrants, even people who have their green cards, people who are literally getting their citizenship and deporting them. They are stripping families apart. They are zip tying children under the age of 12. They're zip tying them and carting them off. They are sending children 2 and 3 and 4 to courts to defend themselves on why they're here in America with no representation. So what does that mean? Guess what? The Department of HUD, Urban Housing Development, and Scott Turner, who is over that now, who once again, just like his predecessor under Trump, knows absolutely nothing about anything in real estate, is going to agree to work with Homeland Security, which is over ICE, and letting them know that people who are immigrants and don't have legal status, who are living in public houses or public assisting, are now going to be turned into Homeland Security. Now, I know that this part may be a little confusing on what I said, so let me give you a synopsis of what that looks like, okay? For one, an illegal immigrant cannot get housing assistance. They cannot get Section 8. They cannot get public assistance. They cannot get any kind of vouchers that go toward getting homes or rents, right? However, they are allowed to live in a place with someone who is legal. What does that mean? Maybe the illegal immigrants came over, they had children. They have 2 children who are United States citizens. Well, they can't leave their children here. They can apply for assistance. The children will get the assistance because they are American citizens, but the illegal parents will not. So the government has always had a prorated system that they've always worked at. Okay, we cannot give you, the parents, any kind of credit. You're going to have to pay additional rent because you're illegal. Okay, maybe you're trying to get your paperwork or whatever in order. But we can give the children assistance because they are American citizens. Under this rule and what they're doing with Homeland Security and ICE, they will come in, strip the parents, give them they're not even really given the choice a lot of times if the children can stay or go, because they have actually said, if the children are citizens and you are not, they need to go with you. Bye. You got to go. So what they're doing is coming after you from all fronts. So no one is safe. And they're also paying people to turn you in. So if someone doesn't like you because maybe you got a better car than they do, they can call the hotline and turn you in. And the ICE agents can get a bonus of $42,000 for doing their job. So now you have all of these people, HUD, Homeland Security, ICE, this illegal thing that they're doing from the whole top of the pile, and you have your dominoes stacked against you. The fact that these 2 entities are working together and agreeing, and Scott Turner has actually said, we'll do everything we can to help them, puts these people and families in danger. And here's what else it does. I'm sorry, this is just so upsetting to me, is even people who are working toward being American citizens, and even American citizens they've already done it. Now they're afraid if they're an immigrant because, see, it doesn't matter anymore. You may get your American citizenship, but if they don't want you here, baby, which is brown and black, they don't want you here. They'll find any reason to get rid of you, whether you're an American citizen or not. And that is why they are sending people out of the country. Because when the judge says, you can't do this is illegal. Well, guess what? They ain't in our country no more, so we can't enforce it. I can't bring them back. Oh my God, they're in El Salvador. I can't help you anymore. So this is the backroom things that they are doing to get their agenda done. So people who are trying to get housing for people who are citizens, maybe a lot of times it's the children, they're all in danger. They will all be deported.
Thank you for the deep dive. I'm going to ask you some conversation pieces on that, but let me ask. Regina says, thank you. I worked for Section 8 in the early 90s. However, I don't remember anybody undocumented being in any of our housing units. It might be a newer policy, though. The bonus stuff is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then she asked, do you have any info on the other places that they're being deported?
Yes, they are working on one of the African
Yes.
countries.
Yes. I don't know. I can't remember.
And no telling where else, because see, a lot of these will be secret. Once they put you on that plane and you are in the air, they cannot turn around. They will not turn around. Because even in this last case, with the judge stepping in immediately saying, you can't do this, turn that plane around, turn it around. The judge was like, turn it around. Huh? What?
It's South Sudan. South Sudan is the country they're working on in Africa.
So once they put you on that plane, you're not coming back.
Is it you're not coming back because they can't, they don't want to bring you back, or they
No,
legally don't have to, or
no,
they
because the
legally,
judge can tell you that you must, but now the loophole and the gray area is how they're in another country now, so we
we
can't
can't
enforce
find them.
that rule,
We can't find them.
right? And
It's a
I hate to say this, but if you guys have the opportunity to Google and make sure and see what's happening in El Salvador, do the Google map. I want you to look up what is happening at El Salvador prison and type in Google Maps. And what you will see will be there is a whole section that shows that people don't come back from that section.
Why do you think people are leaving El Salvador? You're shipping them to a place that people want to. Wow.
No, I mean unalived. We're talking about at this prison.
Oh. Okay.
So they might not be able to bring you back because you ain't there anymore.
Okay, so Lala, then what needs to be done? Obviously, the American immigration system is not working. Would you agree on that?
I totally agree with that.
Okay, then what would be your suggestion or some suggestion to correct? Because obviously it was one way, it's now gone to another way. What's a happy medium in your opinion?
Call me the woo-woo girl, because I just am. I'm one of them dreamy Pisces. I grew up really believing before I got old enough to know that there were so many lies that were told and taught. I grew up believing that America was the great American melting pot. And I loved that. I loved that concept. I mean, I grew up with Schoolhouse Rock, about a whole song about the great American melting pot, telling stories about how people got here, how they got to the United States of America and saw the Statue of Liberty, looking for a better life. There was processes to that. You just didn't get to just walk in without being processed or wanting to be an American citizen. I believe that there is a right way to be an American citizen or a citizen across the whole world. You know, I believe in being a world citizen. But when you do it, you just don't show up in somebody's country and just expect that they will accept you. You must go through the proper channels. Now, of course, there's a difference when it comes from political asylum and things of that nature, but you still have to fill out that paper. You still have to go through the process. You still have to make the proof. We will still allow for you to do what you need to do while you're doing that process. But I also don't agree with people coming and not doing these processes. I still believe we are a great American melting pot. However, you got to do it the right way. So I truly believe that if we are the great American melting pot, then we need to allow for these things to happen. This land didn't belong to the white man when they came here. We all know that. It belongs to the indigenous people who they admittedly came over and put in shafts and here, you go over here, you go over here, here you go over here, you don't deserve. All right. So how do you build on that, Dr. Vibe? I don't know. But I do, my loving little heart really feels that America could be a beautiful place. And it felt that way when I grew up, that people could come. It was give me your tired and your poor, your yearning heart, burning to be free. We sang that. It's possible. However, I don't think I'm going to see that in my lifetime or the next few generations.
Then would you say then it's broken?
It's beyond broken. It's non-existent.
Then the actions are being taken by the current government. It's not the right solution.
No, it is not the right solutions. I believe that the people who are there as illegal immigrants have a right to come and ask for citizenship.
Okay,
you have a right to do that.
So the process that they're doing, I just want to make sure I'm clear and the audience is clear. When they get deported without due process, are you against that?
Yes, I am. I am very much so. But I'm also against, I want y'all to understand, I really feel like I'm a fair person. I am. And I have never been a straight down the party person. I am now. MAGA, are you kidding me? There's nothing with MAGA I agree with. But here's the thing. You have to allow them to ask and go through the process. You can't just say, oh, you got to go back. Well, if give them the option, listen, you either go through this process and you're willing to go through the process, it's long and tedious, or if you're not willing to do that process, then you can't stay.
Okay.
You have to want to be there.
All right, then. So I'm just going to walk through the scenario so if we get some clarity. Someone shows up at the border, they're not legal. They do deserve, in your opinion, they deserve due process.
Mm-hmm.
Do they stay on American soil while they're waiting at the cost to a taxpayer? That's what some people say. No, I don't want to be paying for these people if they're not here legally.
Yes, they are allowed to stay. But history shows that people who come over illegally or, are not, or have not gotten citizenship, they still put back into our system too. Look at what's happening down in Florida and all these. They're the ones who's down there picking the fruit. They're the ones down there building the houses. They're the one. It's a lot of them come and they are willing to work. They're willing to work and they do put back into our system.
Yes, they do. A lot of them contribute through taxes, all that, even though they're not legal citizens. Should they still, in your opinion, should they still be allowed to do that?
Yes. But I also believe there should be a time constraint for them to apply for this process and get through it.
Okay. All right. Jen Meyer says, Schoolhouse Rock taught us so much.
Mm-hmm.
What a wonderful time we grew up in. So beautiful, Jen. Schoolhouse Rock, and they need to bring that up again. Regina goes, I think there should be an American embassy in every country. The process should never be at the border or after it is crossed. The embassy needs to process the paperwork first. And the paperwork should be cheap and not complicated. But then I ask, as she has, and the paper should be cheap and not complicated. I want to ask then to both of you, while the paperwork is being done, again, I just want to confirm that they're allowed to stay in America. I don't live in America.
Yes.
But a lot of people might say, well, they're costing the American taxpayer money, even in limbo.
No, they're not.
Okay. That's what one side would say.
People will tell you that, but no, they're not. They're not allowed to get public money or anything like that at all. They have to work, and there are a lot of people who hire. Don't get it twisted. Somebody's always looking for a maid. All right. So they are working and they are putting money back into the system. And some people are saying taxes. Blah, blah, blah. Well, baby, they still got to buy groceries. They still buy gas. They still buy products. They're putting money back into the system. Let me back up just a little bit and I'll give you a good comparison, okay? Because everybody knows that I'm an international real estate agent. If you didn't know that, I am. I sell in Portugal and I sell in the United States of America. Because I sell in Portugal, I have to understand the visa process. You can buy a house in Portugal and not be a citizen. That's cool. But if you plan on living over there, you better go through the system. And I've had to study that system so that I can tell people what they need to do. You have to go through the process. You just cannot come over and they make you go through A1 and A2 of the language so that you at least can speak basic Portuguese to people and be assimilated into that process. That's not just Portugal, that's Spain, that's Italy, that's London, that's France, that's everywhere. There is a process and there is a whole thing to have to do that. And if you want to stay for a certain amount of time, you have to get a re-up. All right, I want to be a Spanish citizen. For the first 2 years, I get temporary residency. Okay. Well, at the end of temporary residency, I have to go back in and show you that I am putting money into the system. And I'm working, but I'm not taking the people's jobs of Spain. I got my own. I got things to do. I can do that. You can show them that you're going to be a citizen. They'll re-up you again before you can have dual citizenship. There is a process. America needs to follow that process, but it's way broken, and we must start from scratch. But under this administration, that is not going to happen.
Okay. Regina says, no, they can't come here until they're given a green light. I also believe in seasonal work visas like they had back in the day.
Yeah. And not some like what Musk and his brother did. Let's call that out. They came over here under educational visas, and just all of a sudden just didn't do education and stayed. All these people that are enforcing these things are the exact people who are doing these things, because Melania Trump did the same thing. She calls herself coming over. Excuse me.
Have a drink of water. Take a break to get a drink, please. Thank you. Get some water, whatever, please.
You'll put this in so I can have moisture. She didn't come over on the right visa either. Okay. And she stayed. And then she played dumb, like she didn't know that she was over here on the wrong visa. But now she is the first lady of the United States of America. And under the rules that Trump is putting out and trying to enforce, her and Barron don't belong here. So
okay.
I said, maybe Barron was born here, but Trump, his wife, no, she didn't do it right. It must be done right.
Okay. All right. All right. Our final conversation, because we're getting to the edge of Lala. And if Will was around, he'd probably shut this down. So we
Thank me yesterday because I talked too long.
Yeah. So I want to stay in Will's good graces because I want to get him on the show one of these days. So our final conversation piece. 47 stunning streak of losses in lower courts. And before we get Lala I'm going to give her a little bit more time to just clear her throat. We're going to get your feedback, family, on this subject. So let me just do this. Let me do that. And we're going to put it up. So start thinking about, if you're watching live on YouTube, would love you to provide some takes about, because 47 is not a good time in the courts lately. He has not had a good time in the courts lately. So let's get your takes on it, family. And we're going to put up if you're on YouTube, watching the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, share us your thoughts. We have some thoughts from some previous conversations. Let's talk about it. So Lala, 47's previous losses in the courts, or some of his recent losses in the courts. What are your thoughts?
This is what I say when we're getting hit with the 1,000 balls and we only can catch one. We are not seeing the actual playing field. Now, yes, we understand that a lot of the times he's ignoring these or just pretending like he doesn't even hear them. But nonetheless, at some point, they are going to have to be enforced or they're going to have to come into light. So let's talk about the tariffs, because I think that's really, really important, because he had a big loss over this. So the court
temporarily.
Yes, because he's allowed, they've already filed a notice of appeal. Okay. Right. And they will do that. So according to the courts, they said that the tariffs cannot be enforced, and that's a major loss for him. So anything that he's already put on the table, even with China and Canada, they have to be taken off. First of all, that's not his role. Congress, there's due process for this. Congress is the one who's over that. And the courts cite that the Constitution grants the Congress the power to regulate the international commerce. So the markets are actually cheering for this, because honestly, America is not doing so hot. And he's already filed the administration of appeal, the notice of appeal. But the tariff, now let's get this clear. The tariffs for auto, steel, and aluminum will still stay in place. But they were saying these things like he's going to charge the EU 50%. That's now off the table. They said he has no right to do that. And that is a major loss for him. Because if that gets taken away, it shows that his power was not genuine in the first place, which it never was. Because they're saying that he's exceeded his authority. And the people who are behind this is saying that he did that by violating the international emergency economic power. So you have to understand that is a legal thing, not just for the United States, but internationally. However, here's where we have problems. And this is where the whirlwind comes in. No matter how many times we win, the White House is going to come out and spin it to a point where it feels like a threat. So because Trump saw that he made this major loss, and he had his tantrum on social media. And what is his thing called? Truth Social? I don't even know. He sent out little Miss Caroline, who basically threatened the judges, saying that they have overstepped their judicial reach and that they will pay the price for that. Every day we are hearing something that the judges are overturning that he has done. The biggest one, these tariffs. But we're not hearing how it ends up, because it hasn't. Everything is still a whirlwind underneath us. But just know that people are still stepping up, still filing lawsuits. You have the ACLU who's always stepping up and working hard. But it's going to take a long time before we see if these things are going to come out of the smoke. So this loss this week for these tariffs was a massive blow to him, but he's going to spin it very well like they have no authority over him. Now the battle becomes who really does have the authority to do what he's doing. We all know it's the Congress, but if you ask me, the Constitution has been thrown out the window. So what do we do now? Because the roadmap is no longer there. In fact, they don't want you to understand it at all. Matter of fact, they'll be taking that. You better go buy you one right now. Don't download it off the web, because it already done started screwing with that one. Go get you a real book of the Constitution of America to keep, because you're going to need to know your rights.
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, I'll go back to that ruling by the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court ruling, like they're just pushing through and doing whatever they need to do, and it's going to be interesting. Like, and the thing though, a lot of commentators are saying about 47 is now in his negotiations with other countries, they're in limbo now because they're going to wait for a final ruling on this. They're not going to say why we want to negotiate when it's still in flux, and that's not a good thing. And I thought, I keep on hearing that quote, in 90 days we're going to have hundreds of agreements. Where are they?
Well, I'll tell you one, ain't none going along with China. And said whatever. China does not care, baby. You hear me? But here's the wild card, which is who I find very interesting right now, is Supreme Court Amy Barrett.
Yeah.
He is the one who appointed her. He thought that he had her in his pocket, but she has proven lately that no, I ain't in nobody's pocket. I can recuse myself on some things, and I cannot agree with you on some things. So you never know what her wild card. What's that? Uno? The Uno game. You get the wild card. That's exactly her. You never know what's coming out of her mouth because you don't know which direction she's going to take.
Uno. Oh, so Enlightened Beings goes, Lala, be a good girl. Watch that voice, LOL. Regina says, we'll get to your comment. Put up my earlier comment on the topic. We're going to put it up. Regina says, I loathe replicant Levitt. Interesting story about that. There's a gentleman I know, young black gentleman, who does coverage for a major television network in Canada, their news channel. I'm not going to go any further. And when I first met him, I said, "Oh, well, what do you do?" "Oh, well, I do, I cover, I do in-house. I, do news coverage or collect information, data, what's going on." I said, and he says, my beat now is a lot of the United States. So I said, who do you tolerate less, 47 or is it Levitt, the press secretary?
Mm-hmm.
He says he cannot stand Carolyn Levitt. She goes, this is his words, she just lies to your face every day, and she's so bold and stringent. He says I cannot stand her. He didn't have to think about it. He says, I can't stand her. And more than I can't stand more likes her less than 47. Because 47, you know what you're dealing with her. It's just revolting, this, that, the whole other thing.
And she comes out with this big old cross like she's holier than thou.
But she's only in her let's say 26, 27 years old, I've been told. She's a young lady.
Baby, she fits into the profile of what Trump has always gone for. If you look at all of the women in his administration, they all look like that. And if you've noticed that every time they've come out, they've got bigger and bigger crosses on their necklaces.
All right.
What does this sound like?
Regina says the GOP in Congress is going to want to vote 447 tariffs before midterms because it will guarantee is not going to want to vote for the tariffs before the midterms because it will guarantee to lose their jobs. Well, I think a lot of them are in limbo of losing their jobs already. If they put their name to that bill, that's going to be really the test that meets. The next midterms is going to be the real test of America. Some people may say the last bastion of hope for America. Maybe it may be too late. But Regina also says Barrett was a one-issue conservative, abortion. Interesting. All right. We got to preserve Lala's voice. So that is our last conversation piece for today. Thank you very much. We'll get it off the screen. But there are some comments that we had earlier on that we want to address. So coming back, Regina said, interesting fact, 47 administration is winning 7% of their legal cases. Previous administrations won 70. Think about what that says about the current DOJ or TOJ, the travesty of justice. That's an interesting acronym, Regina. You need to.
I love that, Regina. I love that.
And then Enlightened Being says, Lala, you are spitting facts. Of course. Regina says, when this era is reviewed in future history, it needs to include a deep dive on the I never get this word right. How do you pronounce it?
Misogynoir.
Misogynoir against Harris. That's what won. Misogynoir. And then JJ Mars says, last comment, Regina Frisch, history is written by the rulers and upper classes for the most part, no matter if it's good or bad. Misogynoir. I got it right. Thank you, Lala. We went to spelling class together.
Yeah.
All right. As we close it off, I'll do this part. If you want to get a hold of Ms. Staggers, and she'll be back next time, we're speaking right on Instagram, AK Staggers, Medium, akstaggers.medium.com, Blue Sky at akstaggers.bsky.social, Friendo Media at friendomedia.com, and Substack at Aisha K. Staggers. Now it's Lala's turn to dominate the screen.
Before I go into mine, I do want to encourage you to please go and follow Aisha, because Aisha has really great articles on Medium, and also she's working on her Substack. So she has great things for you to read in the meantime. So a little plug for her, because I have really been into her writings lately. Now, if you are interested in becoming a world citizen, I have all of that information on how you can figure out if you're ready or if you're not ready to do that, and to have some things to think about and what that means for you on my website. I also have great merch I have a lot of freebies there, like budget planners and credit repair planners on my website, which is www.laurakey.net. If you're interested in anything real estate, you can follow me at The Realty Goddess. But anything that deals with life and my music and my weight loss and just getting through life and maybe encouraging you through my stories is going to be under at Living the Lala Life.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Fantastic. What's the next thing we're going to see from you?
I am actually working on my guitar, but I'm working through the Artist's Way. I'm in week 4. And if you would love to join me on that journey, maybe you have something that you want to tap into your life purpose, make sure that you follow me, especially on TikTok, because I am actually going to document the process with you, and you can work through that with me as well.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. So with myself, before I give you the contact information, the people who are still here live, I got one more engagement thing for you. One more. Want to get your take on what you thought about today's conversation. So let me just do this. Bang, bang. Let's see if it's going to show up on my full screen. Yeah, there we go. Well, Lala's with me, so I don't mind. Want to say this. What did you think about today's conversation? If you are watching this live on YouTube, from 1 to 5, 1 to 5, saying it was amazing, press whatever number, put it in your YouTube comments, enter, and we there. See it. There you go. There you go. It's there. And while we're doing that in the live screen, I'm going to say you can get a hold of me via my website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show, X/Twitter at drvibeshow. And I had to use X for the first time in a long time today. Lala knows about that. So you can ask me next time, folks, how I use it, but it was for a good thing. I won something, and I had to communicate it through Twitter or X or whatever. Email at dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. And you can also catch me on Substack at substack.drvibe.substack.com/subscribe. And we're going to get that happening in the next week. You're going to see shorts on my Substack channel. Thank you. And Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social. And you can catch replays of this epic conversation at the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and my website, the drvibeshow.com. And yeah, you can subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like the show, not me, the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. All right. I think we have got everything done. And thank you for your positive response. 5 out of 5s. Thank you so much. All right. So let's get a few more comments. Regina says, thanks for an excellent show. You were great. All of you were great, especially live and on the replay. And Enlightened Being says, Lala held it down.
I can talk now. I can talk.
There you go. And Regina says she surely did. All right. So that's how we close it off. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. If you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. God bless. Peace, well, keep the faith, walk good, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
To understand how afraid I am of any member of the rodent family that's down to squirrels and chipmunks. Okay? I cannot stand all members of the rodent family. Rabbits, bunnies, no. What else is going on that day? I mean, is there something we're supposed to be doing?
Why are you going there? Why are you going there? You know I'm going to ask you. It falls the same day as the inauguration of the new president.
The what? Excuse me? I'm sorry?
So in other words, Monday.
So onesies. Now, folks, don't ever think you're going to see us all on a show with onesies on. Don't do that.
You might see me. You might see me.
You'll see me and Lala, because we oftentimes wear ours.